You obviously loathed that attention on your salary. You felt it was a personal intrusion, didn't you?
Yeah, I do. Not so about me personally, but I don't like what it does to your family, and I don't like as a business person, and that's what I am. I run a business, and to have the attention on me and what's going on to me. What I want the attention to be on is the great work that we've done at Australia Post, and I'm more than happy to have that challenge.
Were you disappointed the Prime Minister bought into it?
I must admit I didn't like it, but he is the Prime Minister, and I do work for a company that is owned by the government, on behalf of the taxpayers, and so he has every right to say whatever he wishes to say. But
you also said you should take a pay cut. I thought that was a bit rough. I mean, it wasn't your decision to pay yourself that money. That came from the board.
It wasn't from me. I was offered a contract. That contract's been the same for 7 years. The government is fully aware of my pay, fully aware of the incentives.
It was before that was public.
Yeah.
Before it came up.
It was fully aware. And the Senate had the information as well, I might add. And my contract was very transparent to all at play. And it knew that if I reach certain milestones, this is what you get paid if you do that. And so therefore, all I did was actually successfully reach those milestones, and the business reached the goals that they asked me to reach, and then they paid me. But I didn't also appreciate that people had forgotten that 3 years ago, I voluntarily gave up all my incentives. 2 years ago, I gave up all my bonuses. And nobody asked me to do that. I did it myself.
What would that have cost you?
I foregoed about $5 million.
Over 3 years?
Over 2 years.
Over 5 million. Yeah.
And I did that because it was the right thing to do, because the business was doing it hard. The business was doing it hard. I have to take responsibility for that. And I did it voluntarily. I didn't need to be asked. I offered it up.
The bottom line in it, and I know the argument was going on around it, in your mind, were you worth the money?
Look, that's for people like the government and the board and others to judge. What I would say is this: over my 7 years, Neil, I ensured that I led this company from being not being wiped out. And you had the Prime Minister here when he was the Minister for Communication, and our direct minister who was responsible for Australia Post. And he said on your show, and he said in the Parliament, that if we don't change this company, it's going to cost the taxpayer $6.7 billion. It was said here on your show, $6.7 billion. We changed the company, and not only did we not ask the taxpayer to bail us out $6.7 billion, we've actually done it the other way around. We have contributed, over that 7 years, $4 billion to the taxpayer. Remember, we don't take $1 of taxpayer money, not $1. We are completely and totally commercially funded. And then secondly, on top of the $4 billion, we created Australia's preeminent parcels e-commerce company. This company was valued at $1 to $1.5 billion in 2010 when I started. Today, it's worth over $5 billion.
You know that when you leave, there'll obviously be a severance deal, and that will become public eventually. Do you know what it is?
Yes, I do know what it is.
You're willing to say?
Yes, I am willing to say.
What is it?
Zero.
Nothing.
Yep. I chose to resign in a particular way, personally, just so that you know. I chose to resign in a way to ensure that I got zero.
Why?
Because for me, what's important about this job is not the money. What's important is to absolutely deliver on looking after the employees, the customer, and Australia Post. All I really cared about throughout my whole 7 years there was to save us from being wiped out, from being the next Kodak in this country of ours. The digital revolution that was going on has taken out 50% of the mail volume. I have 54,000 people whose livelihood depends upon Australia Post staying in existence. 54,000 people, of which 36,000 are our employees. What I'm really proud about is that because we changed the company and because we grew the company, and now that we're going global, by the way, in e-commerce, 10,000 people who are going to lose their job, 9,884 to be precise, have been redeployed to the fast-growing area and have saved their jobs.
Well, you say
How
you've
gratifying is that?
You've saved 10,000 jobs.
Yeah, and I feel really good about that.
Okay, you say you gave up $5 million in bonuses over 2 years, and now zero severance pay. What does that cost you? What severance pay could you have been entitled to?
Oh, it's in the annual report. You can pick up the annual report, and it says very clearly, and it has for 7 years, ever since I've been employed. It says in there what the termination conditions are, and the termination condition for my departure, if it's not performance related or not cause, which it's neither of those, is 12 months of my pay, and my pay is $2 million a year.
So you've given up a further $2 million that you may have been entitled to.
Yeah,
that's $7 million over 3 years.
It's not what I'm driven by, Neil. It's not what I care about. What I really care about is making sure Australia Post transformed and is a successful company that Australians can be proud of, because it is the preeminent Australian parcels logistics e-commerce company, and that's what I'm proud of.
Did you realise, I'm sure you did, that people love grizzling about Australia Post, like the old Telstra. Everybody hated Telstra. Oh, my letter's late. And it's true, there are problems with delivery, and there's the two-tier
Sure, there's always problems. I'm sure there's always problems.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I hope they're proud that we are an Australian company taking on the global giants. We're taking on the big foreign players, and we're winning in Australia. And that's what we should be proud of.